When I finally told my story, the reaction was overwhelming, embarrassing, and deeply moving. For 7 years, Michael J. Fox kept something from everyone. No one could see the war going on in his body while he won awards and made people laugh. He was caught on camera at the U.S. Use a wheelchair to get in. He then got up. A lot of people cried after what happened next. Tracy, his wife, just recently told him what the winter does to him. Finally, the truth came out about why he adopted his younger daughter without telling anyone. There's more to this than just Parkinson's. The secret he's kept from everyone since his son was born. Stephen Michael Fox was born in Edmonton, Alberta, on June 9, 1961. He was the fourth of 5 children in a family that began to mourn at 5:30 p.m. and had to make beds with hospital corners. William, his father, was a soldier in the Canadian Armed Forces and made only $12,000. As a way to stay in touch with her artistic side, his mother, Phyllis, worked as a payroll clerk and made $180 a week. That made William angry. He said it wasn't worth his time to act. Phyllis, on the other hand, helped Michael quietly remember comedy acts he saw on TV. They ate canned beans 3 times a week while other families ate hot food. Having to fight made Michael want something bigger. He didn't want a life full of rules and limits. He wanted to go. Fox's family moved 14 times before he turned 12. Chilliwack was the only place they ever lived for more than 22 months. Every few months, a new school, new friends, and a different language. Michael knew how to do that. For 48 hours after each move, he would listen to how people talked and then perfectly match what they said. To blend in. They were sent to Newfoundland in 1971, and he was picked on a lot because he had an Alberta accent. He changed it in record time, though. Kelly, his sister, once said that Michael kept a diary with more than 200 entries that were all about the people he had to leave behind. The family was under more stress because each move cost around $3,000. But Michael learned something very special from all the changes. He could always and anywhere be anyone. He was ready for parts before he even knew he wanted to be an actress. He was only 4 feet 2 inches tall when he was 10 years old. That was a trouble spot in Burnaby. They kicked him off of junior hockey teams because they thought he was too small to handle body checks. He was hurt. He then found the school's theater club. Mr. McRae, his teacher, made him do a strange test. He had to act like he was in a dog food advert. With sounds they made up. No one knew that Michael had been training for months by himself in front of a broken mirror. He did a great job with all 3 sounds. For the school play, he got $25. He put the money in a coffee can under his bed. No matter how often his family moved, he never missed a practice for 2 years in a row. You didn't have to be a certain size to act. He threw himself into it with all his might. By 15, a big event took place. He got a part on the CBC show Leo and Me. There were 847 other kids who tried out, and the process took 6 months. Michael sang a song about a lost dog, and it wasn't fake, it was real. An army move caused him to lose his dog, and he used that pain to write the story. He made $1,500 per show, which was more than anyone else in the family. It cost him $400 to buy a Gibson. He didn't know how to play it. He locked himself in his room and practiced for months at a time. He made about $39,000 from the 26 broadcasts. Until Michael paid $800 for his sister's braces, his dad still thought acting was just pretend. That made everything different. His last day of high school was in 1978, when he was 17 years old. And bought a bus ticket to Los Angeles that only went one way. It cost him $87. He still had $13 left over for food. Somewhere in Oregon, he ran out of money, so he took a ride with someone else. He slept in a truck stop bathroom one night during the 72-hour journey. He got a job washing dishes in Los Angeles for $2.65 an hour, worked 50-hour weeks, and slept on friends' beds. He didn't talk to his dad for 8 months because he was so mad. Michael barely made it by eating peanut butter and rolls from the diner. He tried out 47 times before getting even a small part. But each turn down made him want food even more. In 1979, he tried to join the Screen Actors Guild but was told that Michael Fox was already taken. Andy was his middle name, but Michael A. Fox didn't sound natural. He did not like how the A sounded like an A. Even more so with his Canadian accent. He thought of Michael J. O'Pollard, an actor he liked, and took the J, even though it didn't mean anything. That one small change changed everything about his Hollywood image. He had a real chance in 1980. Norman Lear and Alex Haley put him in a show called Palmerstown, USA, where he played Willie Joe Hall, the bigger brother of a white family in the 1930s. The show talked about important issues like race and class. Even though it was only 17 shows long, Fox got his first taste of how Hollywood works. He was thrown into scenes about black and white friends and had to do things that were moral. Even though it was over quickly, it taught him how random TV could be. After that, he got guest parts between 1980 and 1981 that helped build his early reputation. He played a kid with epilepsy on Trapper John, MD. He played a boy with a crush on an older woman on Family. Even though these jobs were important, they gave him a name he didn't want. People who work in casting started calling him the sensitive short guy. That name would stay on for a while. But one of those Family jobs led to a shock. He made up a scene on the spot, and the managers were amazed. That one moment made way for something much bigger. The first movie he made was a Disney comedy called Midnight Madness, which came out in 1981. It was a terrible mess. The movie bombed. Others didn't like it. Got stuck owing $5,000. He had to give up his car and move into a very small, $200 a month room that was impossible to live in. Almost every day, he ate at McDonald's. He wrote letters to his family at night, but he never sent them. He almost gave up and was ready to go back to Canada. He didn't because there was another chance right then. A new show called Family Ties was being cast on NBC in 1982. They first asked Matthew Broderick to come, but he said no. Michael tried out, but the show's author, Gary David Goldberg, didn't like him and said he didn't fit. But the casting director worked hard to give him another chance. He did a great job this time. Even back then, Brandon Tartikoff at NBC wanted him to leave. He told Goldberg to get rid of the kid. That face isn't on a lunchbox. He fought back and said, "Tell him 3 jokes. He makes you laugh 5 times." Fox stayed. After many years, he sent Tartikoff a personalized backpack with the message, "This is for you to put your crow in." There were problems going on behind the scenes. Fox was drinking a lot during the first season in 1983. Even though he was only 21, he was already late and not ready. Meredith Baxter, who played his mother on the show, planned a rescue in a quiet way. NBC never learned. In the end, Fox said that he didn't stop drinking until 1989. The same year the show ended. That year, things in his real life began to get better again. His first Emmy was for the episode The Real Thing, which aired in 1986. But the director almost lost his job because of the award. In the middle of a big scene, Fox didn't follow the script and went on a 3-minute political rant. It messed up the time, so changes had to be made at the last minute. The studio was mad, but the people who saw it loved it. He won the Emmy with that improvised line, and the director. He kept his job. People didn't expect Fox to do what he did during the 1984 Writers Guild strike. He went across the picket line to film a show by himself. He was paid an extra $25,000. Writers were very angry. Some didn't want to go to the party to end the season. Others stopped writing lines for his character to say. Fox told him he had to work, though. The show had gone from being ranked 56th to 5th at that point. In the top rankings. He had no plans to stop. Something went very wrong on the January 1984 show called Birthday Boy. Fox breathed in real ash instead of fake ash during a scene where Alex smokes a cigar. In front of the camera, he threw up, and filming stopped for 2 hours. But he insisted on finishing the show. When it was over at 1:30 in the morning, the crowd gave him a standing applause. The show was at its best in 1987, getting more than 32.7 million people every week. But Fox and Justine Bateman were having a fight behind the scenes. She thought that by making his speeches longer, he was stealing scenes. There were rumors that she might quit, but they were not true. It was really about business deals. But there was still real strain. Fox's movie career was taking off, and when they started filming Back to the Future on November 26, 1984, the show's balance had changed. Carl Stoltz was already really into the part of Marty McFly. Their first pick was Michael J. Fox, but he had to work on Family Ties and couldn't do it. The studio went ahead with Stoltz. It's been 5 weeks. 70% of the scenes had been shot, but something didn't seem right. The jokes were not funny. Mr. Robert Zemeckis, the director, thought the tone was wrong. Stoltz's serious style didn't fit with the fun vibe they were going for. Everything stopped. Stoltz came out on January 10, 1985. Fox showed up without reading the script first. This meant that most of the movie had to be res hot, which cost about $4 million. But they had no choice. It would be out in a few months. Adding Fox didn't make things better. His plans for Family Ties didn't change. He didn't sleep much for 3.5 months. Starting at 10 a.m. From 4 to 6 p.m., he filmed the comedy. Then he was on the Back to the Future set from 6:30 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. It got worse every Friday. In the afternoon, he would practice Family Ties. That night, he would record 2 live shows and then work on the movie until dawn. He only drank coffee and slept very little in the van between sets. He was so tired that he forgot who he was playing sometimes. After years, Fox made a risky move while filming the dead man's neck scene for Back to the Future Part 3. He suggested taking the picture without the support box so that the close-up of him hanging would look more real. To stay safe, he put his hand around his neck and the rope. He missed the 3rd time, though. The rope stopped his brain from getting blood. His mind went blank, and he just hung there. The team thought he was acting until Zemeckis, the director, saw that Fox wasn't moving at all. Did they come in quickly? That day, they quit making things. Something else had begun by the time they shot Back to the Future Part 2 in 1988 and 1989. Fox saw that he couldn't skateboard as well as he used to. His hands were shaking. At first, he didn't believe it. The crew did the same. People thought it was part of his act. It's true that he played older forms of Marty. That being said, these small changes were early signs of Parkinson's. Fox wouldn't be told what was wrong until 1991. As they filmed Doc Hollywood. He later said that he wore gloves on set to hide the fact that his hands were shaking. It was like his body knew something was wrong, even though he was acting like he was getting older. Several other strange details became clear over time. Fox was just under 5 feet 5 inches, and Christopher Lloyd, who played Doc Brown, was almost 6 feet 1 inch. The directors made Lloyd hunch over all the time so that they would look more natural together. This little trick became a part of Doc's stylish look. Lloyd liked to play jokes on Fox on set, and one time he even hid the DeLorean keys. The joke made the shooting go over 2 hours later than planned, and the extra time almost cost them $50,000. 1985 was more than just a trip into the past. Teen Wolf was also being filmed by Fox. It only took 21 days to make the movie. It began every day at 3 a.m. Because it took over 4 hours to make them look like werewolves. Yellow glasses, thick prosthetics, and suits that itch. He'd scream while shooting. Not putting on the suit again. He kept coming back every day, though. He had to surf on top of a van in a dangerous scene. They hired an action double because they were afraid the Fox, who hadn't slept in a while, would fall. Fox's shoes had real burn marks on them in the 1987 movie The Secret of My Success. To save time, he would light cigarettes on them between takes. His movie Family Ties was still being filmed, and he had to start making light of day. After that shoot, Fox learned to play guitar from scratch, letting his fingers bleed because he insisted on doing all the solos himself. He even wrote and sang his own song for the movie, even though he thought his voice would be replaced by someone like James Taylor. It wasn't. That same year, Fox took a darker turn in the bright lights of the city. He was drinking a lot in real life, and it started to show in his acting during one shoot. He couldn't get his lines right after 20 takes. On set, the fake cocaine was just sugar milk. However, Fox said that the scenes seemed too real. He later said it was art that copied my careless life. Because of a strike, the story had to be rewritten in 7 days, which wasn't ideal. Later in 1988, Fox had a small voice part in the Dutch thriller The Vanishing, but he wanted more work. What they were doing gave in. They were not pleased. It was close to him when the American copy came out in 1993. It was easy to understand. They did not want players who were demanding. That choice was bad. He might have been able to play for a big team. Then there were war deaths in 1989. Fox put on 10 pounds to get bigger for the part of an American soldier. The scenes he had with Sean Penn were very dramatic. Penn stayed true to his role as a rough sergeant even when he wasn't filming. He wouldn't talk to Fox. And told everyone else not to do it either. Eventually, things got so bad that they had to stop shooting because of the fight. For the rest of the shoot, the director had to step in and keep them apart. In 1991, when Fox was shooting Doc Hollywood, he woke up one morning to find his pinky finger moving. He first thought it was just from Woody Harrelson's party, but the shaking got worse. He couldn't stop shaking his left hand. He was only 29 years old when they told him. He still kept it a secret. During scenes, he'd keep his hand in his pocket and say that the shaking was because his character was tired from a crash. It wasn't a show. No one knew it was real. He teamed up with James Woods the hard way in 1991. As Woods kept going off script, Fox was often caught off guard. He once pulled Fox's pants down during a take. They left it in the mistake film. Some reviewers said they looked like Dirty Harry and Bugs Bunny stuck together. Next was Greedy. In 1994. He said that the vanity of his character was based on real events. He worked hard to get paid more when Family Ties became a hit. The actor who shared the lead role with Fox thought her performance was too real, even awkward. Still, the movie did well. It was only second to Ace Ventura in the box office. It wasn't easy for him to switch from plays to movies. Cost $22 million to make, but only made $18 million. People didn't want to see him in darker parts, but critics saw how versatile he was. He was no longer just the kid from Back to the Future. Even though the disease started to change his life, he kept taking on harder parts. It was a new task when Stuart Little came along in 1999. He gave the mouse a voice, but it was hard for him to do because of his shaking. He recorded more than 200 takes, when most people only do 20 or 30. He planned each exercise around taking his medicine. When to do it for the best result. His voice would shake near the end of some days. The team thought it was because they were trying to be perfect. In 1996, a few years before, The Frighteners were an odd case of real-life helping art. The shots in Fox's Tremors had a strange energy to them. Peter Jackson, the director, leaned into it. Fox's hand shakes in a scene where he is holding ghost hunting gear. It worked even though it wasn't in the plan. Mars Comes After Us that same year. At him passing away too soon. Wasn't just for fun. The two of them decided that it would help hide his symptoms. Fox's shaking added to the fear in one scene where his character turned into green goo. It was only filmed twice. Later, Fox asked for a scene where the ghost comes back to life, but viewers found it unclear, so it was cut out. More things went wrong with Atlantis, The Lost Empire in 2001. His medicine made it hard for him to speak clearly. The sound engineers at Disney thought it was just the accent of his character. For 3 weeks, they stopped making things. Fox even took too little medicine while recording to keep from slurring his words and too much medicine afterward to stop the shaking. Even though Disney never said anything about it, the movie came out on time and earned $500,000 for Parkinson's research. Then, in 2002, Fox gave one of his most honest efforts in Interstate 60. He played a businessman who was very angry and yelling into a phone. But in the middle of the scene, he began to talk about what life was all about. It wasn't in the plan. The director realized Fox was reading from his own papers when he talked about how empty fame was and how the world had changed since he was diagnosed. That scene, which lasted only 4 minutes, made the movie's emotional center. That was seen by no one who knew those words were real. When Michael J. Fox took over his job on Spin City in 1996. He looked like he was at the top of his game, but he had Parkinson's disease and had been living with it for 5 years. He was only 29 years old when he was told in 1991. On set, no one knew that he didn't want them to know. He became what he once called a master by taking his medicine at just the right time to hide his symptoms. At controlling drug use. Every shoot needed a lot of energy, control, and time that was just right. How hard he worked just to look steady was something no one saw. It changed the tremors based on where he stood, when he walked, and how he moved. He was smart and funny on screen. Off screen, he was worn out. Still, he won 3 Golden Globes for that role between 1996 and 2000. While fighting a war with his own body that no one could see. Behind the scenes, something much worse was going on at the same time. A woman from Camarillo, California, named Tina Marie Ledbetter became crazy about him. In 1 year, she wrote him almost 6,000 letters. She was only 26 years old and worked as a mail clerk. Every day, that's 15 letters. Most of them were angry and made threats. Written in all capital letters and lots of question marks. She even sent him mail with boxes full of rabbit poop in them. It became dangerous for her after Fox married Tracy Pollan. It made her very angry that he picked Tracy over Nancy McKeon, who he had dated before. It got to the FBI. They found the boxes and put her in jail. For extra safety, Fox had to hire protection and bring them to the set. They couldn't go on trips with his wife's real name. He said it changed his life afterward. Then, 7 years after being told, Fox finally chose to tell everyone in 1998. Spin City was already in its 4th season at that point. The story of his character started to mirror his own. Some shows, like the one where Mike Flaherty thought about running for mayor, even hinted at bigger fights to come. Behind the scenes, though, things were getting worse. He started having dyskinesias, which are sudden, uncontrolled movements. He would shake and sway and feel tired. Even so, he kept playing. To get ready for Fox's departure, Charlie Sheen was hired, and the production moved from New York to Los Angeles. Fox later said that he thought his face was getting harder, which made it hard for him to show how he really felt. Which is very important for any character. He knew he had to leave at that point. In May 2000, his last show ran. Part 2 was the name of it. It was the 100th episode of the show. The character played by Fox was fired because they were to blame for a political incident. Fox wrote most of the goodbye speech himself, which made it more powerful. Alzheimer's was there between the lines, even though he never said it. The people there cried. The actors cried. People who watched at home cried. That episode got a lot of attention. It ended things without really ending them. One of the saddest scenes ever made for TV was his last scene with the cast in a bar. Fox didn't go away after he left. During 2009, he played a drug addict called Dwight on the FX show Rescue Me. It was honest and raw. They loved it, too. Even got nominated for an Emmy. People didn't know that Fox had his own problems with drugs many years ago. After being told he had cancer in 1991, he drank a lot. He said he had drunk 4 glasses of wine and maybe a shot. Everything fell apart the night his son Sam was born in 1989. Fox passed out in the hospital waiting room. Tracy gave birth on her own. He woke up in shock and knew what had happened. He went to his first AA meeting that same day. He hasn't had a drink or drug since 1992. He said that seeing Tracy's face and hearing her ask, "Is this what you want?" was the moment that changed him. That second saved him. They met on the set of Family Ties in 1985 and fell in love. But they didn't meet until 1987, when Bright Lights, Big City was being filmed. He asked her to marry him on December 26, 1987. On July 16, they got married in Vermont. 1988, the event was supposed to be private, but paparazzi helicopters flew over and made the outdoor wedding less peaceful. It was what he called a security show. The stalker Ledbetter kept sending those scary letters all through that same year. To stay safe, Tracy had to use fake names. Their family grew very quickly. Tracy had several miscarriages after Sam was born on May 31, 1989, before they tried IVF. Their twin girls, Aquina and Skylar, were born on February 15, 1995. On the other hand, Fox was shooting The President of the United States with Michael Douglas at the same time. He was lying about having Parkinson's, working 18-hour days, worried about Tracy, and passing out on set. Docs told him not to go, but he did it anyway because he was determined not to tell anyone. His body finally told him to stop. After that, a girl named Esme joined the family in 2001. She was secretly taken in from a home in New York and adopted. The news didn't know anything. Fox would dress up as a delivery person just to visit her without being seen. Aliens and backdoors were used. For more than 20 years, it was kept secret. In 2023, Fox finally admitted that having Esme with him gave him strength when he was losing it over his Parkinson's. Even though she gave him a reason to keep going, he still had Parkinson's. Fox was also told he had cancer in 1991, the same year he got the news. Even though it wasn't linked to Parkinson's, it made him almost unable to move. Tracy found him one day asleep on the kitchen floor with his left side frozen. He did the surgery even though it was dangerous. He had to learn how to walk with a cane all over again after that. He still kept it from everyone. He did not want Hollywood to think he was weak. He smiled, did something, and kept going. What was really wrong with him wasn't known until 1998. It had worn him down to hide it by that time. He had been drinking, using weighted tools at dinner, and planning every move on set for years. Everything changed when he opened up. In 2000, he started his charity. Brought in more than $2 billion for study. That's more than any other source that's not the government. The most important step forward in Parkinson's history happened in 2023. A biomarker that can find the disease 20 years before it shows any signs. It's 90% correct. In 2024, the trials began. People in the field of science called it revolutionary. More than 3,000 projects in 35 countries were funded by his charity. He gave $50 million himself. He paid for it himself. The Presidential Medal of Freedom was given to him in 2025. That is the world's top citizen award. He joked, "I'm not afraid of dying," during his speech. Bad reviews have helped me improve since 1976. He was funny, but he also said he was scared. He was afraid he wouldn't make it to 80. He was hurt the most in the winter. Tracy, his wife, said that he spoke less than he did during those times. But the whole world saw him every time he stood up again. The 2025 U.S. When he opened the door, he was in a wheelchair. His family helped him stand up. In just a few hours, that video had more than 1 million views. In the same year, he stood again at the BAFTAs, this time shaking and moving slowly but determined. Before he even spoke, the crowd cheered for 3 minutes straight. A lot of people were moved to tears by his 90-second speech. Within a week, 3 countries raised their spending for Parkinson's by 40% each. The phrase #MJFFFoxStrong went viral on the internet.